It's a question that will continually keep you stuck and become a massive handbrake in life. Driven Mofos, welcome back to another episode of The Underestimated Entrepreneur. What if? What if? What if? What if? It's the ultimate handbrake in life. I was listening to a great talk last night from a billionaire, a young billionaire actually. He's probably in his 40s. His name's Michael Rubin. Great guy. He owns like a bunch of card collecting businesses, sports memorabilia, all of that type of stuff. But anyway, I was listening to this talk and he said something that I think is so important. And that is that most people say, what if? And he said, I didn't become a billionaire by saying, what if? Too many people stall their own growth by using what if. He said, I don't think about what if. I think about what could go right. I think about what I want and I just take action. And I keep taking action. Things go wrong all the time and I just keep working through it. And eventually I come out the other side and we're further ahead than what we were. And it made me really reflect on a lot of the people that I've worked with over the years. And what I notice is the people that succeed the most tend to have a strategy. And that strategy is have a goal or have something in the future that you can focus on. Know what you want, start taking action towards that thing. You're going to make a lot of mistakes. You're going to fail. You're probably going to lose some money. You're definitely going to lose some time through those mistakes. But if you keep going and you keep kicking the ball forward, or you keep moving forward towards the goal, then you'll get there. What most people do though, who are fear-driven, is they keep asking the question, what if? Well, what if it doesn't work? Cool. Now what? Okay, so what if it doesn't work? Well, it might not work. Okay, well, now what are you going to do? You're going to go and search for a different solution? Then you go and find that different solution and you go, okay, well, what if that doesn't work? Oh, shit, I'm in that same predicament. Okay, let's go and find a different solution. Oh, that doesn't work. Okay, well, what if that doesn't work? This is why there are people out there who have read 200 books and still haven't achieved anything in life. Because they know everything in theory, but they just don't have the courage to act because they keep thinking, well, what if it doesn't work? What if my wife or husband doesn't agree? What if my wife or husband judges me? What if I fail? What will my friends and family think? What if I don't succeed? What if I don't make money? What if I waste time? What if I waste my energy? What if I burn out? All of those questions are just a massive handbrake. They don't really help with any good decision making at all. It's such a bad strategy. And I'm so glad that someone like Michael Rubin said that. You know, what I love about Michael Rubin as well is he just wears a t-shirt, jeans, sneakers, basketball shoes, and the dude's super loaded, super rich, but he just loves sport. He loves sports memorabilia. And he's just this high energy, high intense guy. I think he's from New York or something. So he's got that like real gritty, just fuck it attitude. I love it. But it's such a great point because so many of you who are listening to this right now probably have what ifs in your mind right now. And if that's the case, those what ifs are a handbrake. They are a massive break in your life and they are holding you back. Now, if you're going to ask what if it doesn't work, the question is, what if it does? What if your partner doesn't agree? Well, what if they do? You have to convert and flick that around to the other side as well. You also need to learn better strategies. So normally what ifs come because you don't have a good, clear strategy or you don't have good, clear knowledge. If someone says like, I remember thinking this was probably about 12 months ago. I kept thinking, well, what if we run out of money? Well, we'll just make more. I always have. I've never gone bankrupt. I've had plenty of times where I've lived off the bones of my ass and I've been completely fine. I've never died. I've never gone without food for a long period of time. I've had to eat baked beans and eggs when I first started the company for like weeks on end. But I've always survived. I've always had a roof over my head. Everything has always been okay. Why? Because of my character. I've always been highly driven. I've always been highly ambitious. I've always worked through things. I've always figured out a way. I've always found knowledge. If I don't know something, I go and find someone else who knows. If that has been my strategy in the past, what makes me think that it's not going to work now? Once I realized that no matter what happens, everything's going to be okay because it always has. And whether I've got the right answers or not is irrelevant because here's what I do have that most people don't have. And that is me. I'm highly driven. I'm highly ambitious. I learn quickly. I surround myself with people who are smarter than me. Why wouldn't I succeed? When I realized that everything that has got me to where I am today is going to be the thing that's going to get me further forward in the future, then now I just don't have that fear of what if things don't work. Things will always work. If I commit to something, things will work. This is what I love about Elon Musk. If you look at Elon Musk, you would be stupid to bet against that guy. And it's not because everything he does works. It's just because everything that doesn't work, he eventually makes work. So building an electric vehicle isn't a good idea. It's actually a really shit idea. It's one of the dumbest businesses you can get into is manufacturing of cars. Most car manufacturers lose money over time. Tesla started making a profit. One of the only companies to make a profit in the car business. Amazing. He put rockets into space and competed against NASA. Not because he is smarter than NASA, but because of his tenacity to keep going, to never give up. There's an amazing, if everyone looks up Gangsta Paradise, Elon Musk, and it's a 5-minute clip. It's one of the most inspiring clips. When I watch it, I get tears in my eyes. Not because I'm sad, but just because of how amazing that guy is when he thinks. It's essentially a whole bunch of people throughout his career who have bet against him and said, you'll never make it. All the failures that he's gone through, all the mistakes. And then at the end, the song switches to Gangsta's Paradise and it shows all of the wins and all of his achievements that he keeps having. What I love about that is that he just backs himself. He knows that he will figure it out. He knows that he has all the skills. He surrounds himself with the right people. He's highly intelligent. He'll always figure it out. He does not give up. And in the end of Gangsta's Paradise, they say to him like, are you going to stop? And he said, I'll never give up. And potentially that's what you need to hear, that you should never give up. If you know that you'll never give up, and you know that if you just keep working on building a better you, a better character by learning, by being around the right people, and by having the self-belief in you, not the self-belief in the goal, the self-belief in you, that you will make things work. I guarantee in 12 months, you will be a completely different person with completely different results. I never got this when I was younger because I had a mind full of doubt. My parents and my family, I grew up in a household where my dad is very passive. He's not a very goal-driven person. He works hard. He's a hard worker, but he's not a very goal-orientated person. When I was younger, he was probably a bit more shy. He worried about what everybody else thought of him. And so because of that, he gave up a lot of his own goals and dreams as a people pleaser. My mum, on the other hand, highly aggressive, highly driven, highly ambitious, highly goal-driven. What I found from my mum, though, is that my mum didn't surround herself with people that were smarter than her in order to grow off of to help those goals accelerate faster. She had the work ethic, she had the self-belief, she had the drive, but probably didn't have the knowledge to make it happen. She probably didn't learn enough about what she needed to learn in order to excel. She probably didn't learn enough about herself mentally and emotionally. And then as a child or as a kid, my dad used to always tell me to be careful, be careful, be careful. My grandparents used to do it as well. Just be careful, just be careful, just be careful. So I became more cautious because I became afraid. My mum, on the other hand, she was super ambitious and super driven, but she would always point out all the things that I didn't do. She would point out all my failures, all the things that I didn't do right. And so I was always getting in trouble with my mum. So not only did I have this worry about failure and making mistakes, there was part of me that was more passive like my dad. I used to worry about what everyone thought of me. And I used to fear failure because of how my mum treated me when I made mistakes. I found it really, really hard to achieve. I had this internal ambition where I wanted to do more. I wanted to achieve more. I wanted to give more in life. I wanted to get out there and kick ass. But I just didn't know how to get that part of myself out of me and then express it through my actions and my behaviors. I didn't know. Personal development was that gap. When I started doing personal development, they said anything that you perceive in your own mind, you can make happen. I was like, okay. Now, was it as easy as just learning that and it happened? No, it took me a decade. It took me 10 years to develop the brain capacity to the point where I went, you know what? If I stay focused on something for long enough, it will come true. Okay. It took me 10 years because every time I would set a goal, I would think about it. Oh, well, what if it doesn't work? What if I fail? People are going to judge me. People are going to criticize me. People are going to take me down. Okay. But that was just my childhood. So I had to decondition myself, detrain myself, and then retrain myself. Most of life as an adult is detraining or forgetting things so that you can relearn things. Most of you right now don't have what you want in life because you keep thinking the same way you've always thought. You have to untrain yourself and then retrain yourself to think a different way. When you do that, you'll crush it in life. So I had to detrain those fears from my mum and from my dad, and the worries and the stresses and the concerns. since doing that, now I know that if I just back myself and I go for something and I commit to something, I'm going to make it work. I'm going to make it happen. And that's why I commit to things before I'm ready. I always commit to things before I'm ready. I just did a US trip, and all that it took was me to sit there and go, you know what, fuck it, I'm going to the US this year. I keep putting it off, I'm going. I booked one podcast. I reached out to a guy and said, hey, I want to be on your podcast. How do I make it happen? He said, it's going to cost you some money. And I said, I don't give a fuck. Send me the invoice. Once I booked that in, I went to Jess and I said, we're going to the US. I booked a podcast. These are the dates that I want to do. She said, what are you talking about? You're crazy. And I said, yep, but that's why you married me. Let's go. And she said, how are you going to make it happen? And I said, I don't know. All we got to do is book the flights. Let's go. And from there, it took probably about 2 to 3 months of reaching out to different people, changing flights, changing itineraries. We were literally changing the itinerary on a daily basis because someone else would reach out to me. So I remember Brad Lea reached out to me. We were going back and forward. And he said, look, I can do this date. I think it was the 18th of September. I can book you in on the 18th of September for a marketing day with me. And then I can do the 19th of September for the podcast. And I said to him, look, I would like to have a day in between the podcast so that I can rest because I would have been on the road for 2 weeks now and I probably need a rest day. So I was going to have the 18th and the 20th, I believe. And so the 19th I had as a rest day. I booked that in, and then Andy Elliott's team came back and they said, if you want to do an interview with Andy Elliott, you've got to fly to Arizona. Now, Brad Lea is in Las Vegas. And I'm thinking, shit, that's the only day that he had for the whole month of September was the 19th of September. And I was like, shit, that's my rest day. That's going to be the day that I'm just going to chill out, probably catch up on sleep because I'm flying all the time. I'm going to be a bit knackered. Nah, fuck it. Let's just do it. So I literally went in a 5-day period. I flew from Miami to LA. I was in LA for 2 days, one for a podcast, one for a mastermind. Flew straight out the following day to Vegas, spent time with Brad Lea, then had to fly to Arizona to be with Andy Elliott or to do the podcast with Andy Elliott. I had less than 24 hours and then I had to fly back to Vegas to do the podcast with Brad Lea. And then the following day I had to fly to Dallas. That was a 5-day period. The itinerary was changing day by day. But what I knew was that I would make it work. I committed and then made shit work because of the belief that I had within myself. I didn't have the what if it doesn't work? What if we don't make money? What if I kept doing that, I would have never ever stepped it up and made that trip to the US. I never would have done it. So just to give you a recap on this episode, first thing is, what ifs will kill your dreams. They will hold you back. What if your partner doesn't agree? Well, then make them agree, right? The way that you do that is you do it through better negotiation skills and better communication skills. You need to be better. Don't blame your partner. It's you. You're the fucking problem. Change. Develop yourself. If you're going to keep blaming your partner, you're going to build up resentment towards them. Then you're going to say to them, see, I told you, and it's going to put pressure and stress on your relationship. That is not going to help your relationship. It's not going to help your goals and dreams because you're going to give up on them. Okay? It's not going to help you financially because you're going to keep blaming your partner as to why you're not getting what you want financially. Really bad idea. If you want to kill a relationship, do that. Use that strategy. If you don't want to kill your relationship, you go to your partner and you say, hey, I've committed to doing this. How do we make it work? How do we work on this together? And then what you do is you get their feedback because they're going to see it from a different perspective, but they're going to work with you because you asked them a better question. How do we work on this together? But you've already made the commitment. So first things first, commit to what you want. Get rid of what if. And then finally, you have to develop the skills to back yourself to achieve the things that you want. And the only way that you do that is you fail time after time after time, but you keep going until you figure it out. The more you do that, the more you're going to believe in yourself and back yourself. I have all these people who come to my events and they're like, I want to have the self-belief and the self-confidence. Here's how you develop self-belief and self-confidence. Fail. Fail way more. Don't hold back. Go and fail. Eventually you realize that failure is okay and you'll be fine. When you do that, you'll kick ass. I mean, think about this. In order to be the top NBA team, right? Let's say and I'm just going to make up some numbers here. Actually, I can probably look this up right now on Google. So if I go to Google, how many games in an NBA season? Okay, let's look this up. So 82 games in a regular season. How many games did the number one team win in 2023? The Boston Celtics. So out of 83 games, they won 57, which means that they still had a shitload of losses, right? If you look at the top AFL teams in Australia, they have a lot of losses. And if you have a look at how over a 10-year, over a decade period, they go through seasons where they just absolutely are shit. You can't stop. They keep going. They keep the eye on the prize, and that is to win championships. In your life, if you keep focusing on winning championships, winning the game, achieving at a higher level, you stay focused on your vision, you will keep going through those losses. That's why we need to have goals. That's why we need to have dreams. That's why we need to have a mission. And that's why we need to have a vision. Those things will keep us driving forward. Those who lose the vision and are visionless, they will always give up on their goals. And here's the key kicker for the whole thing. Whatever you focus on expands. If you focus on what if it doesn't work, then you're focusing on it not working. If you focus on what if it does work, you'll focus on it working. If you focus on your goal, then you'll probably achieve the goal. If you focus on what people think of you, you're going to focus on what people think of you. So where your focus goes, energy is going to flow. So you want to put your focus on the things that matter. And the things that matter are achieving the lifestyle you want and winning in life. That's the key. So just focus on it. Driven Mofos, I hope you've enjoyed this episode. Keep kicking ass. I appreciate each and every one of you. Also, thanks for so many of you for reaching out on social media as well. Sending me comments and things like that, or jumping in the chat and having a chat with me as well. It's awesome that a lot of you are giving me feedback on these podcasts, asking questions, what you like. When you ask me questions as well on social media, normally through Instagram, I use Instagram a lot. I very rarely use Facebook. But when you send me messages on Instagram and you ask questions, or you say, can you do a podcast on this episode or on this topic? What it does is it allows me to deliver information that you guys and girls out there need. So please don't be afraid to shoot me messages on social media or on Instagram especially, and ask questions, because I can do the podcast episodes on those questions. I don't have to say it comes from you, but it allows me to deliver information that's helping the community. So I do appreciate that. Driven Mofos, keep kicking ass, keep working hard, and just live a lifestyle that you love to live. I guarantee it'll change your life and it will make life feel pretty awesome. Keep kicking ass, and I'll see you on the next episode. Most people waste their life, and I just don't want you to be one of them.